Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. We like to blend casual conversation with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. And, today we're diving into some pretty heavy stuff. The Department of Justice's antitrust lawsuit against Google, and this whole idea of a decentralized internet, specifically Project Liberty. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
It really is fascinating to see these two seemingly separate stories kind of converging around the same fundamental question,
Look.
who gets to control the internet and how?
Okay, so first let's talk about Google. Seems like the DOJ is throwing the book at them, right? Default search engine deals, potential divestments from AI startups like Anthropic, maybe even selling off Chrome. I mean, is this really necessary?
Well, the DOJ is arguing that Google's practices, like paying to be the default search engine on so many devices, are unfairly tipping the scales. They're saying it prevents other search engines from even getting a chance to compete. And those proposed remedies, while drastic, are meant to break up what the DOJ sees as Google's monopoly.
Okay, I get that. But wouldn't breaking up Google potentially hinder innovation? Google has invested heavily in AI-powered search and other cool features. Won't this just lead to a fragmented internet with a bunch of subpar search engines?
That's a valid concern. Critics of the DOJ's approach argue that it could stifle innovation and lead to a less cohesive online experience. Forcing Google to share its algorithms, for example, might discourage companies from investing in research and development.
And let's not forget the political angle here. A change in administration could completely change the course of this case, right?
Absolutely. The definition of anti-competitive can be fluid, depending on who's in charge. The outcome of this case could have significant implications for how antitrust laws are applied to tech giants in the future.
So while this whole legal battle plays out, there's this other movement gaining momentum, Project Liberty. The idea is to create an internet where users actually own and control their data, rather than big tech companies. It's like a complete 180 from how things work now.
Exactly. Project Liberty challenges the current model where companies profit from user data. With limited transparency and control for the users themselves, they envision a decentralized internet where you, the user, decide how your data is used and potentially even profit from it.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. How can the decentralized internet realistically compete with the tech giants? I mean, Google, Facebook, these companies have massive resources and infrastructure.
It's a David versus Goliath situation for sure. The biggest hurdle for Project Liberty and decentralized platforms in general is user adoption. They need to demonstrate that their model can offer a superior user experience while addressing complex technical challenges like data security and privacy. And that's where the DOJ's concerns about Google's investments, specifically in companies like Anthropic, come into play. They're worried that Google is trying to corner the market on the technology that will power the next generation of the internet, which is AI.
So it's not just about search anymore. It's about controlling the underlying infrastructure. But some might say that investing in promising startups is a good thing, right? It helps drive innovation.
That's the crux of the debate, isn't it? Is Google using its vast resources to stifle competition or accelerate the development of cutting-edge technology? The DOJ seems to think it's the former, at least in this case.
I guess that's for the courts to decide. But speaking of AI, it's pretty mind-blowing how quickly it's transforming everything, not just search.
Absolutely. The sources you provided highlighted some fascinating use cases. In healthcare and law, imagine AI helping doctors make more accurate diagnoses and personalized treatments. Or think about lawyers using AI to analyze mountains of legal documents in a fraction of the time it would take a human.
Yeah, it's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But it also makes me wonder about the potential downsides. What about job displacement? And how do we ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly?
Those are critical questions, and frankly, we're still figuring out the answers. As AI becomes more powerful, we need to be mindful of its potential impact on society and develop safeguards to prevent unintended consequences.
Right, because it's not enough to just focus on the shiny new tech. We have to consider the ethical implications and ensure that AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
And this brings us back to the idea of decentralization and user control. How do we design AI systems that empower individuals rather than further concentrating power in the hands of corporations? That's the challenge we need to address.
That's a really good point. And it's why initiatives like Project Liberty are so important. They're trying to flip the script and give users more agency in the digital world.
Exactly. It's about creating a more equitable and transparent online environment where users have a say in how their data is used and how technology evolves.
So it seems like we're at a crossroads. On one hand, we have the existing internet, which is convenient but also raises a lot of concerns about privacy and control. And then there's this vision of a decentralized internet, which is potentially more equitable, but faces significant technical and logistical challenges.
It's a fascinating dilemma. And ultimately, the future of the internet will be shaped by the choices we make today, both as individuals and as a society. Do we embrace the status quo? Or do we push for a more decentralized and user-centric model? The answer is not clear-cut, but the conversation is crucial.
Well said. And speaking of choices, we have to make a choice right now. To pause for a quick break, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on this wild ride through the future of the internet.
All right, we're back, ready to continue our deep dive into the future of the internet. We've talked about antitrust lawsuits, decentralized platforms, and the rise of AI. It's a lot to process. Where do we even go from here? Well, one thing is clear. The tech landscape is changing rapidly, and the old rules no longer apply. Companies that fail to adapt will be left behind, and individuals who don't stay informed risk being left out of the loop.
So it sounds like adaptability is key, but what does it actually look like for the average person? How can we prepare ourselves for this uncertain future?
One crucial aspect is investing in our own digital literacy. That means staying informed about emerging technologies, understanding their potential benefits and risks, and developing the skills to navigate this evolving digital world.
So not just passively consuming technology, but actively engaging with it and shaping its direction. That makes sense. But let's talk about investing in a more traditional sense. With all this disruption happening, how do we make smart financial decisions in the tech sector?
The sources you shared emphasize the importance of focusing on companies that are aligned with strong secular growth trends. Think about areas like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. These are the sectors that are likely to see sustained growth, regardless of short-term market fluctuations.
So instead of chasing the latest fads, we should be looking for companies that are solving real problems and creating real value in the long run. Makes sense? And what about geographic diversification? Is it still important to spread our investments across different regions?
Absolutely. Geopolitical risks are more prominent than ever, so diversifying your portfolio across different countries and regions can help mitigate those risks. It's about not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
It all comes down to being informed and making strategic decisions, both in our personal lives and with our finances. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and hope for the best.
Exactly, the future of the internet. And frankly, the future of our world is being written right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping that future. Whether it's supporting initiatives like Project Liberty, demanding more accountability from tech giants, or simply staying informed about the latest developments, our choices matter.
Well said. It's been an eye-opening conversation, and I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about. The future of tech is full of possibilities, but it's up to us to ensure that those possibilities lead to a better world for everyone. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just this. Don't be afraid to engage in these conversations. Ask questions and challenge the status quo. The future is not predetermined. It's something we create together.
I love that. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive into the world of tech. It's been a pleasure as always.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the deep dive, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.